everyone. Thanks for joining in our podcast. Today we have Mayrian Sanz from our January Credential of Readiness course. I'm Hillary, also from the same classroom. So
Hi
we are
everyone.
thrilled to have this opportunity to speak with you today, Marianne. Would you give us a short background to introduce yourself? I know you're already on the Cohort SpotLight card that we can find you, but tell us something more about yourself.
Sure.
Sure.
So, as you
So,
mentioned,
as
my
you
name is
mentioned, my name
Mayrian
is
Sanz.
Mayrian Sanz.
I'm
I'm
currently a
currently
director
a
of
director of
operation and
operation and
strategies in a
strategies in a
company located in
company
the United
located in the
States.
United States.
Profession
And
tech,
but I come into FinTech
basically because of sales.
basically because of sales.
So, I'm a lawyer by
So I'm a
profession
lawyer
and
by
a seller
profession
by
and a
love
seller
and
by
passion.
love and passion.
Most of my
Most of
career
my
has
career
been
has
in
been in
sales,
sales on
administrative roles,
administrative roles,
running from
running.
team lead to supervisor, manager, director, and so on. And I have a vast experience in sales, contact centers, and companies overseas, but providing services within the United States.
A very in-depth and variety of experiences. What brings you to right now from law degree?
Well, I studied law in the Dominican Republic and I graduated there. I pursue my career, but in the Dominican Republic is different than in the States. Usually, when you're a lawyer and you don't want to dedicate to public litigation, you usually tends to end up in insurance. I love it. But I'm a seller by passion.
Right. I see that you might handle people in a very different perspective now as a person in sales than you were in the legal field.
It works to have both.
Dealing with people between legal and sales, like what is the biggest challenge you've found? Or the biggest difference in adjusting?
The biggest difference, I mean, they're very similar because when you're a lawyer, you're trying to influence people and convince people to believe basically your ideas in opposition to the other party's ideas. And when you come into sales, it's kind of the same because you're trying to convince people to purchase your product or, either a subscription, a product. It's basically the negotiation part of it. It's pretty similar. In opposition to one thing to the other, in legal, you have more time to prepare, to investigate, to develop your ideas and test different pathways in which you want to take, in which route you want to take your ideas and your rationality right behind a case. While in sales, you just have a couple of minutes with a client. Usually it is through a call or even face to face. So you need to pitch the client while you're going there. And if the client happens to ask questions that were outside of the scope that you prepare for that particular pitch, you will need to adjust and adapt right in the moment. As in addition to legal, which you just need to, you have enough time to prepare prior to that situation or to that particular moment.
So in sales, it's more like you sort of adjust yourself along the way of how your client's preference is presenting. But in the legal, you're like looking for the best interest of the client and then sort of have more control over the conversation as a lawyer.
Exactly. As a lawyer, it's more slow paced. Like, if you go into a litigation, there's certain tone of voice that you can use. Like, you need to be respectful all the time. You need to be prepared. You need to make sure that you use the corresponding legalities or legal terms there. While in sales, it's more fast paced. And if you have a client that is angry at you at the moment, then you need to pace your tone and make sure that you bring him to the right mindset. While you might have clients that are more chatty and more conversational, so you need to stop being so polite, so formal, and be more familiar with the client when you're talking to them.
Yeah. We both have experience in law school. Dominican Republic. Is it common law system or code law system?
We have code law system. So it's pretty different to what we use in the States. Yeah, we do
code law.
Code law system. Yeah, so it's pretty different from what we do in the United States. It's more common law. So the Dominican Republic law system is pretty similar to the French one. So if you're familiar with the French system, then we develop our system based on the French and the Spanish legal system.
Right. The Chinese, the mainland China have its own code law systems that influenced very strongly by the French and the German code law systems. And Hong Kong, because it was colonial to British, so we had common law systems. Yeah, so I have a bit of
Oh, wow.
a taste
You
of
have,
both things. Yes. Code law
that's
is
interesting.
yeah. So I saw that you're quite active on our LinkedIn and our group, and I saw it from your latest post about parenting. How many kids have you have currently?
I have 2 kids, 2 boys.
Wow. And how do you balance that with with such a strong career as a director in where you're working at?
Well, as you noticed from my recent post, sometimes it gets exhausted. Um, Sometimes, especially now that I'm doing the course of readiness in Harvard with you, there's times in which you start questioning your life and your decisions, right?
Yes.
Like how
Yes.
much responsibilities are you willing to take, and how many sacrifices are you willing to make in order to keep growing? In my particular case, I try to involve my kids as much as possible in whatever that I'm doing. Like my kids are part of the company that I currently working on. And when I say part of it is that they understand what I do and they understand the relevance and the importance of the work that I'm performing on every day. Most of my coworkers have met my kids on one level or the other. And I just try to, squish as much time as I can with them, while still in the route of pursuing this career and this growth that I'm willing to achieve by myself. So to me, it's more making sure that they understand why sometimes I cannot be with them as much as I want to, but at the same time that they understand so they can feel proud of the achievements that I'm making in my personal life as well.
Yeah. It's kind of lucky that they are a duo. I haven't been a parent or a mother yet. Even as a single person, I found balancing the energy level to do the course well, and going through materials outside of the course to back it up, like the knowledge gap. It's quite a big challenge during our current course. I can't imagine how you can do it as a mom and working. Must be
A
tough.
fun It is, but the fact that I have 2 kids and that both of them are boys make it a little easy because they spend a lot of time together, so they kind of understand each other. It's not just a single kid that I need to care for, but they can care for each other. And at the same time, I have this little trick, right, in which when they have math classes in school and they are coming because they need help because they don't understand something, and I'm in the middle of doing, the core models, I'm like, you see, I also struggle with math because it says, for example, I'm doing the financial one and they see that I'm doing numbers. So I kind of try to explain to them what I am doing, especially with decimals. They are learning decimals right now.
Yeah.
So I try to incorporate the knowledge that I'm getting from the classes to trying to break it down to them so they will be able to use it on the level of knowledge that they are getting right now. I don't know if that makes sense. I
Wow.
just try to make sure they understand that I'm going through the same things that they are going. So yeah, we are doing homework together. While they're doing homework from school, I'm doing homework for Harvard. When I'm working on a late project for the company that I'm currently working on, then they are also doing homework by my side. So we have like this little office in my house that I use when I come from work, and they have their own desks. So they are kind of working with me.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's when you're a mother, you need to try to find creative ways to incorporate your kids to your life
Yes.
and make them understand like what you're doing and why you're doing it.
So those Harry Potter decoration on your desk, are they yours or are they your kids?
They're mine. I'm a
Oh.
Potterhead. I love everything related to Harry Potter.
Yeah, I have a Question for you. If you are to pick someone from, a Harvard teacher to be your mentor, who would that be and why?
Oh, wow. I think I'll choose Minerva McGonagall. I think, as first of all, she's a female. So the fact that she made it that far and she become the right hand of Albus Dumbledore, being a woman, it's something to be respectful for. And then I don't know, through the books and especially through the books, because the movie doesn't give her as much credits as it should. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm a Potterhead. I can spend the whole day talking about Harry Potter things. But yeah, especially in the books, she has so much knowledge and so much care for the students that go to the schools. And she has, even though she was not a mother, she has like this protective vibe. Like she will go above and beyond to protect the students in the school and to push them till they achieve their better level of greatness, you know. And she adapted her teaching skills to the different students, like taking the main trio. The way in which she kind of mentor Harry is not the same way in which she mentors Ron, and it's not the same way in which she mentors Hermione. You can notice that when she gave her the time turner, because she knew that Hermione will make the best out of it, out of the three. So yes, basically McGonagall. Yeah.
So like, strong faith, being a protective mom, and also because she has come so far herself as a, life role model. So that's the reason.
That's it. Those are the three reasons for that.
Very nice. Do you envision yourself be someone like her?
I envision myself achieving great things in life. Like my parents and my closest friends will describe me as a dreamer. Because, I mean, the Dominican Republic is a small island in comparison to the rest of the world, right? And since I was a kid, I've been dreaming to go places, to achieve things, to prove myself, right? And everyone's like, why are you aiming so high? Why can't you just limit yourself? And I'm like, why do I need to limit myself? Like, I'm gonna go out there, my mind tell me I'm gonna make it, right? And if I fail, then I'm just learning a new lesson, a new way in which I'm not supposed to do things. And then I will just keep going. So yeah.
I have the same mindset. We're shooting for the stars. Yes.
Like how does that go? Like aim for the stars, and if you don't reach it, at least you will reach the sky, something like that. Like aim as high as you can, as high as your mind allow you to, and then just roll with it. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. I have a bit of a personal question from, back in the days in law school. It's in Hong Kong I know that straight A is quite a thing that is possible for a lot of students if they're really willing to work hard on it. And I myself was a slow starter from basically most of everything. How did you find, learning at law school to the day where you're working?
Well, I think that the fact that I knew I wanted to be a lawyer since I was 10 years old helped. Right? It's not something that no one pushed me to do. I just I was willingly going to law school. So I was indeed an A student. And to me, it wasn't hard, but I think it's because I always push myself to the limit, right?
Right.
So I was already an A grade student in school because I was pushing myself. I went from school to college right away. So I didn't take a year. That I noticed that that's so common here in the States. I don't know how it works in China, but students tend to have like 1 year of, let's say, vacation from learning. So as soon as they finish high school, the tendency is not to go right to college. I did went from high school straight to college. So I think that just keep fueling me because I was already used to being a student. So I had basically a schedule already that I was able to follow to do my homework. I have lawyers in my family, so I understood most of the basic concepts of law. So maybe that also gave me an advantage when I went to college. So to me, I want to say it was easy, but it was also challenging. But I mean, it was challenging, but it wasn't hard.
And it's a
But
good
I
challenge
think,
because
yes,
you
I think
signed up
most,
for it.
yeah, and I think that the biggest reason why it wasn't hard, it's because I was expecting it. I was dreaming to become a lawyer since I was 10 years old. So I was willing to push myself to make it till I achieve excellence.
Yeah. So in Dominican Republic, as a lawyer, do you separate the work of a solicitor and a barista, or are they the same as an attorney?
No, you separate them.
Okay. Like here in Hong Kong as well. So do you envision yourself as a lawyer or a barista?
As a lawyer.
As a lawyer.
Yeah.
And why since 10-year-old you have this vision planted? Because I didn't know what to do when I was 10.
Well, one of my mentors and one of the persons that I want to follow the steps when I was a kid was my godmother. I learned a lot from her. Well, I'll say something. I blame her because I'm not a morning person. I'm more like a night owl, and it's because of her. Like I learned a lot from her, and she happens to be a lawyer. She made so much out of her life as a woman in the Dominican Republic. She grew. She was a type of person that can be in a circle of men, and she didn't care. She was like the person in the room that everyone quiets when she has something to say. And the fact that she was a woman in that time and she achieved all that she achieved in her life, even to have her own company. I think she was my major inspiration to be willing to become a lawyer.
Is she a traditional woman? Like, balancing out family role and also work life as well?
Yes, she is. She is.
How did she do that back in those days?
Now that I'm a grown woman, I can tell you I don't know how she did it. I just don't know how she did it. Like pursuing a career, having her own company, then having her kids. I mean, she waited till late in her life to have kids consciously of what she was doing. But then, like the fact that she was raising, and she has two daughters, so it's even harder. From my perspective, I don't have daughters, but from my perspective, it's harder to raise daughters than to raise sons. So she has two daughters, and she was able to make everything. And after she had her kids, she was able to just keep shooting for the stars, and still being successful after that.
So that ambition and the drive, that'd be something personal to every single career woman that we own to. And having childbirth or having children doesn't really change who we are as a person, but it just add more roles and more diversity to who we become at the end of the day. I think that's what I heard.
My oldest son will say, like, you just keep getting more responsibilities. You just keep trying to juggle more responsibilities. But I think that as a woman, we have the mental tendency to believe that we have more to prove, right? I think that it's just in our brain. We are born with that mentality that just because I'm a woman, I need to try harder. I need to make sure that I achieve things so society will show respect towards me. I don't know if that makes sense to you as well. And I decide some women saw it as a disadvantage, but in my case, I'd rather see it as a strength. Like we need to be stronger, and we need to make sure to try to tackle every task with perfection. And to me, that just gives us more fuel. So instead of seeing that as a disadvantage, as many women, like, well, I will not even try it. I'd rather see it as a strong trend for us. So yeah, we're gonna try it, and we're gonna show that even with the disadvantage and even with the difficulties that can come on the way, we can make it.
Yeah.
And we will make it.
Yes. It's funny because right now we're doing the economic course, and I recently stumbled upon a video about an economist writer, because a lot of women can market themselves with different things. And us, we choose to market with our brain and what we can bring to the table, what we give, ideas and what we can do rationally.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, at the same time with a feminine touch as a mom or as a sister, something like that. But like in the video that I stumbled upon about a prostitute learning how to use economic strategies and models to marketplace her own, her own services.
You see, it's interesting. Like, we women, we are resourceful. You cannot deny that.
No. Yeah. Yeah, it talks about like, connections and circle, how the network influence us to be who we are. I mean, I wasn't as lucky as having lawyers in the family that runs, legal story and whatnot. My parents were very practical business people, so we learn to make mistakes at the same time while we keep going, as they like the going concern principle. You have to reveal all your failures if you are not bankrupting, so like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to fact check if I've got it right on the concepts.
I think you did. I think you did.
Thank you. That's great. But then, like, after you became, you achieved that hype, that mountain as a lawyer, and then you switch on to doing sales. How are you feeling about it? Is it a sacrifice that you made alongside proving something?
Let me think about it a little bit. Well, the thing is that when you become a lawyer in the Dominican Republic, and it's something that we were talking on the first meeting that we have with the cohorts, there's something about law that challenge your moral, challenge your ethics, challenge your core values. So it's hard to admit it, but when you are a lawyer and you reach that point in which your values do not align with what you are expected to do, the decision to move from one place to another becomes easy. So I recently read the book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. And one of the laws talk about that, like when you're a leader and your core values does not align with the vision that you're trying to pursue, making the decision to move from that vision to another, it's extremely easy. And in my case, it was hard on one side because it was my dream as a child to become a lawyer. But then when I saw that to keep growing, I will need to compromise certain values that I have, the decision was easy. It was like, there are other places in which I will be able to use the knowledge that I've achieved. And I have no regrets about making that decision, because thanks to the fact that I moved from legal to sales, I've been able to go places and to grow even higher than what I was able to dream when I was a little kid.
I think so too. That touch of integrity is always the decision, like the point where you're starting to make a decision. And I'm glad that you find a better place right now than you used to be. And it's good because we have to do this. Like, we have to be, or else there's no point of moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. And we will grow. You don't need to sacrifice your values. You don't need to sacrifice yourself. And I mean, once you know who you are and you accept that, you do not need to sacrifice that in order to go places. There will be other areas, other career paths, other companies in which you will be able to grow, and you will see the opportunity to do so, being who you are and with the values that and your uniqueness, like what you can bring to the table. I tend to see this as a flaw, but the life has shown me that this is actually a strength. And it's that I used to jump a lot from one company to another when I was young, because I tend to get bored or dissatisfied pretty quickly, right? when you are on a company where everything is set and everything is done, there's so much that your uniqueness can bring to the table. So it's like it's easy for you to, within 1 year or 2 years, being bored within the same role and being eager to grow and to move. So I found myself back when I was younger jumping a lot from one place to another. And as I was saying on the cohort meeting, I think that I saw as a flow was the biggest trend that bring me to FinTech and bring me to sales and to the place that I am right now. Because my qualities of being a creative person do not conform with one day being the same than the other is extremely useful in the place that I am right now. So I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and I love it.
That's great. You know, this is a place where you're being appreciated and valued based on your experiences and, you know, your horizon of having touched on every every different things. That's so good. And if you do you think, like, when you talked about young age and right now, do you think, like, when did you start making a more stable decision in terms of career? Is it once you landed this job being valued, or once you have a family or something? That's what makes you not young anymore.
I think when you're young, you made a lot of questionable decisions. Let's call it questionable decisions, right? And you believe that you have the time to jump from one place to another and to explore things. Once you become a parent, you understand that there are certain responsibilities that you need to fulfill on a daily basis, right? You need to make sure that you're in a place in which you can provide for your kids. You need to make sure that you are in a place in which you can take care of your kids. So I think that when I made that mental change and I matured the most, was when I learned that I was okay. I want to keep pursuing a career path. I want to keep shooting to being a successful person, but there are basic needs that I will need to be able to cover on the daily basis for that little kid that was growing in my belly. So I think that in my case, that was the point in which the point of no returns, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I need to pursue. I want to keep pursuing success, but now I need to do it more careful.
And you, like, having kids sort of redefine your meaning towards successful.
Yeah, because for example, before you have kids, you can make the decision to jump from one job to another, regardless of the paycheck, right? So if you feel like you will be more useful on another company, even though you will get less pay, which is something that happens to me in the past, you don't mind to make the jump because you know that what you will achieve in the new company, even though it's not the same salary wise, you will get more knowledge. Maybe your leader or your mentor in that company will add a lot of value towards you. Maybe within that company, you can grow faster than in the company that you currently are. So that has a name in economics. I'm trying to remember. It's the cost value. No, it's not the cost value. Well, it's basically when you need to make the decision where are you gaining the most, not earning by making other decisions.
Opportunity cost?
Opportunity cost. There you go. Thank you. The opportunity cost. So before having kids, for me, the opportunity cost, the part that has more value was how much can I learn instead of how much can I earn. So it wasn't regardless of the money, it was more about the knowledge, the people, the contact, the networking that I will be able to create by moving from one job to the other. However, when you have kids, then the opportunity costs change because it's not necessarily about the knowledge anymore, but it's also I cannot leave a place for another one if I will not be able to provide to my kids first. So in that moment, my mind needed to be rewired because yes, I saw the opportunity in other places, but I need to be able to provide the basic needs for my kids first. And if I have that covered, then I can move from one job to the other.
I see myself as, if I look back at my resume, it seems very jumpy, but most of the time it's not like a decision that I made for myself, but a very, dynamic or environmental reason that I have to change jobs 2 or 3 years time. But I saw that in your experiences, you did a bit of FinTech. It's quite a fast-paced and dynamic sector.
It is. I am currently in FinTech, and I love it, especially for that. It's a new space. It is dynamic. What I'm doing today is not what I'm gonna be doing tomorrow. It requires a lot of out of the box thinking. So because as it's a new niche or a new space, there are a lot of things that you still figure out and a lot of challenges that comes on a daily basis. So you need to be aware, and this is where my laws expertise coming to the table. You need to be aware of the constant changes on the regulations. One thing can be done or being allowed to today, and then the regulation change tomorrow, and you need to adapt your business to the new regulation. You need to go ahead and review your websites, review your agreements, review your internal processes to make sure that everything aligns with the new regulations. And that it's challenging, but that is also fun because that keeps you connected with the people within the business. Because you always need to be connecting with them, like a training here, a meeting there, bringing them to the table to how things are different from what we do a month ago. And I love it. I think that's the reason why I've been staying in this company the longest, and why I don't see myself going anywhere in the near
You don't have to go anywhere. You are having fun there. You're having fun
yeah,
here.
I think I find my place in the world and I'm
Good.
enjoying it.
Yeah, you're having it all, You have kids, you have family, you have your own study time. I mean, I'm curious, how many coffee do you drink every day?
I drink a lot of coffee, not to stay awake, but because I love coffee.
Yeah.
I will say like 4 to 5 cups.
Well, you're immune to caffeine now, I hope.
I think so. I think so.
Was that a hobby? Like when has it become a habit of drinking like 4 to 5 cups of coffee?
I like the taste. It's like it's already part of my routine. Like in the office, they know if I haven't had my cup of coffee in the morning, they will immediately notice because I'm like an ogre. I don't like anyone. I don't want to talk. I just need my coffee first. So it's part of my routine. Once I have my coffee, I'm like a sunshine. Then during meetings, I like to have my mug so I can grab it, like to find myself doing something. Because during meetings, when you're not leading the meeting, there's a lot of idle time. And I find that I cannot be like just watching someone talking because my brain will not process the information. So I find myself doing a lot of stuff with my hands, and having a mug of coffee by my side or tea helps because I can be grabbing it, feeling the warmth of it, putting it from one side to the other, taking a sip of it. So it's usually more coffee than tea because I like the taste of coffee more. So that keep adding to the 1, 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 cup of coffee in the day. And I think it was more something out of habit than out of necessity at some point.
Yes. I'm about the same as well. Like I enjoy coffee as much as I also enjoy the dose of excitement you get out of it. I read a book ages ago about, it's called Well Caffeinated. It's talking about how caffeine as a drug being legalized, but it's actually helping us to move forward. It's not like, that kind of drugs where the government need to ban it because it affects, the GDP and the productivity of the world or their people. Yeah. Anyway, lastly, let's have a quick closing on, what do you envision? We talk about a lot of vulnerability alongside with strengths contributing to, effective career pathing and like leadership and whatnot. as a as a female in business and in career, what do you envision yourself after finishing this course to move forward and beyond what we have sort of studied in the classroom?
So I want to grow to a higher level of a higher scale in the executive levels of the company. Like I already make it to director. I want to keep growing from there, you know. Like I dream to even make it to board member at any given point. Could be for my own company, could be for the company that I'm currently working at, but it's something that I'm definitely aiming for in the future. And I've noticed once I take the role of director that there were some areas of opportunities, right? In which I need to invest time and effort to blind those areas, right? To strengthen those areas. And that's the reason why I started with the core in Harvard. I am intending to keep pursuing more certifications that help me to satisfy those areas in which I still notice that I might be struggling or that I want to keep challenging myself. Because I figure that when you believe that you know everything, then you're failing. If you know everything, if there's nothing challenging you, if there's nothing else to learn in the role that you currently are, that means that you reached the comfort zone. And yes, the comfort zone is perfect for you to stay there for a couple of weeks, couple of months, so you can rest.
Yeah.
But nothing grows there. Like nothing bad happened, but nothing good happens either. So in order for you to keep growing, you need to keep finding roles that challenge yourself. Roles in which you notice that you have maybe a little, maybe a lot to learn in order to satisfy the needs of that role. And that's where am I right now. Like
Yeah. I love hearing a story and like how your inspiration and aspiration comes along. Like I envision myself as well, like, one day in the C-suite as well. But to reach it from today to that one day, there's a lot of work to feel
it
it.
is, but it's, trust me and believe it's full of satisfaction down the way when you see back and you see your life and you said, wow, I was struggling back then. You remember the share that you have share. You remember the struggles. You remember the sleepless night, and you notice where you are right now. You figure like, wow, it has been worth it, and it will keep getting better.
Yeah, it's
If you
like,
can see to your past and figure that everything has been worth it till the point in which you are right now, then that gives you fuel to keep growing, to continue moving forward.
yeah. It's always good to have have goals to move towards and earn it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm
a satisfaction
100%.
when you achieve it.
Yes. It's gonna, I mean, yeah, as long as you keep showing up.
That's all that counts. That's all that
Yes.
matters. Keep showing
Yes.
up. One days are,
Yeah.
are harder than the others, but you just keep seeing fear in your face, like getting in your face, and tell it, not today,
Hmm.
not today. That's it. Because it's scary. When you're growing, there's a part of the way in which it gets scary. Like you start feeling the doubts, like, did I really make it because I have the talent, or I was just lucky to make it here? So those doubts, you just need to again see fear in the face and say, you know what, today I'm going to overcome you. I don't know tomorrow, fear, but today you're not gonna limit me.
Confront
Today's
that
not the
fear.
day.
Yes.
Exactly.
That is
Don't worry
so,
about tomorrow or a week from
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Tackle the fear that you feel today. The one for
Yes.
tomorrow, leave it for tomorrow. Tackle the one you feel on today.
Thank you, Marianne.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me to spend this time with you.
I learned a lot as well. I hope everyone watching is also learning a lot
I
as well,
hope.
as much as I am. Yes. All right, I'm gonna cut the filming. Yes.